We are almost 3 hours into trading. It's Friday, January 22nd. Hello, traders. Let's take a look at the market. Let's see if we can find a few trades. I also want to take a look at a few stocks that I've highlighted earlier in the week as well. You can see that we have this upward sloping channel right here. There's the lower bound. As long as this lower bound is intact, you have to favor the long side. You have to be bullish. We've been selling out of the money bullish put spreads, and a lot of them are going to be expiring. We've got 3 of them expiring today. We've got 3 of them expiring next week. And then we have 2 expiring the week after. By the time we get into February, I'd like to be mainly in a cash position. I feel that the market is overextended. I have a number of metrics that I highlighted in Wednesday night's weekly swing trading video. I'll be releasing that to YouTube tomorrow, so make sure to watch that. You can see all the different metrics that tell me that the market is setting up for a correction. Now, as long as this upward sloping channel is intact, we don't have to worry too much. The biggest worry would come on a blow-off rally. Now, that might happen if we get a $1.9 trillion stimulus bill. We could see boom, boom, big long green candles up to SPY 400. If that happens, I think you got to be super, super careful of the backside. This was an overextended condition here. You can see boom, boom, boom. Everything looked like we were going to the moon. And when the rug got pulled out, it got pulled out instantly. And that's about a 50 point, it's about a $40 drop or a 400-point drop in the SPY that happened right there in the course of 3 days. So you've got to be careful. Now, here's what we could look for if we do get some kind of blow-off rally. Typically, where these channels start, that's where the market tends to retrace to once it breaks down. You can see the 100-day moving average comes into play just above that level. So that could be as far as we fall if the market does correct. Long-term investors, no problem. You're going to ride out this storm. Many people rode out the storm in 2020. You're back to where you were and then some. But for swing traders who are leveraged like we are, you've got to be extraordinarily cautious because a move like this can wipe out your entire account. That's why we're moving to a cash position. I don't see value right now. I'm having a more and more difficult time finding really good stock trades. And a lot of the stocks that I'm looking at have had huge breakouts and they've gone parabolic. I'm not going to be selling out of the money bullish put spreads on those types of stocks. Now, we have been able to sell bullish put spreads on stocks that have a tendency to rally into earnings announcements. That's what we've been focusing on. Those have worked out incredibly well for us. So now that earnings season has fully launched, we'll have opportunities to take a look at how those earnings reactions played out, and we'll be looking for strength after the earnings announcement. That will also set up some nice bullish put spreads for us in coming weeks. However, we're going to be very light in our allocation. So we want to keep risk to a minimum while we're right up here at the top of this channel. So with that in mind, let's take a look at a few plays. I've got a search here that I'm going to show you. It's option lottery day, Friday, expiration. I'll be looking for some trades late in the day. I just want to show you some of the criteria that I'll be using to find those. What we try and do is we try and buy options for pennies in the last hour of trading that have a chance of going in the money where we can sell them for maybe 20 or 30 cents. Huge percentage win rate, huge possible percentage gains on those trades. Very small risk in terms of a dollar allocation, but those tend to be very low probability trades, so we really have to work on our probability. One of the key factors for this trade to work out is we have to have a market tailwind. Well, right now, we have a long-term market uptrend. That's good. We have a market that gapped lower and that has been trending higher after establishing that low. There's a double bottom low. We also were able to break through the high of the day and get in the gap, so there's a good chance that we'll be filling more of this gap in here. So that is pretty decent. We've got an okay market tailwind. Ideally, we get a little bit of a market dip in the last hour of trading. That is our entry point for some of the strongest stocks. So that's what the search is going to look for. In particular, I'm looking for a stock that has very good option liquidity. I'm looking for a stock that has ADX bullish on a 5-minute basis. That means that it has very strong momentum on a daily chart. Weekly options, because we want to sell options that expire, we want to buy options that expire today. And I want a stock that's above the prior day's high. Now, the market is down. A stock that's above the prior day's high would have relative strength. These are some candidates that came up, and I'm going to click to see what new candidates we might have. I'm just going to go through a 5-minute chart to show you the type of setup that we'll be looking for, and then you'll be able to kind of get a feel. These are not the stocks that I'm doing option expiration plays on. I need to make that crystal clear. Everything changes throughout the course of the day. The stocks that are strong right now may not be strong late in the day. Other stocks that right now are flatlining could gain momentum and volume. So this is a search that I'll be running in the last hour. So let me go through the candidates here and we'll take a look at that momentum that I'm looking for. You can see how the stock has been grinding higher. Daily chart, you can see that it's through the 100-day moving average, has some resistance right here at the 200-day moving average. So I like that poke through right there. Not crazy about having that 200-day moving average just above it. Not too crazy about that one. DE, this is pretty nice. You can see it's a breakout to a horizontal resistance level. Pretty good. Put up the M5 chart, and there you can see it's been grinding nicely. It's through the prior day's high. Could be a candidate. GME has been just off the rails. Look at that, parabolic. Now, on a stock like this, these options are going to be so dang expensive that even with a half an hour left to go, an at the money option is going to be super expensive. I don't see playing this one. J&J, really nice. In fact, this is a stock that we sold some out of the money puts on, a bullish put spread. This one actually looks pretty good. So let's go into the 5-minute chart. That's the type of consistent price action we're looking for. Overlay the SPY. You can see market down, 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 the gray line. What's the stock doing? Opens higher and continues to push higher. So this is the type of stock. And right now, let's just say that it is an hour before the close. Hour before the close, the stock is at 164.74. We're only 25 cents out of the money on the 165 calls. Those would be the ones that we'd be looking to trade and to buy for pennies. If we can buy them for pennies and the stock has a chance of going through and into the money, that's exactly the type of opportunity we're looking for. You can see they're trading for 30 cents right now, so they're not cheap. And we don't want to buy them this early in the day because this is like an ice cube on a hot city street. It just melts away in the last 3 hours of trading. So these stocks have to be able to demonstrate that they are going to sustain their momentum. Once they get in the money, they start trading at parity with the underlying stock, so the market makers can't play games with us. It's incredible to watch these options go from a nickel to 25, 30 cents. We're able to find them almost every week. Again, we need that strong market tailwind. J&J, decent looking opportunity. The next one on the list is Lilly. You can see nice rally, but it compressed in here, and then now it's got another leg higher. Lilly, you might remember because I highlighted this Monday evening when I showed you strong stocks to look at this week. And if you took that advice, that was your entry point Monday, and it continued to push higher. That would be your entry point Tuesday. Monday was a holiday. So Eli Lilly, still very, very strong. Another stock that I highlighted in that Monday video was GILD. Really nice. You could see how it opened here and just took off. I loved the fact that it was getting through this downward sloping trend line here. It had tested the 100-day moving average. It was rallying and breaking through a longer term downtrend, big volume. It had all the right characteristics. That's why I featured it Monday night. Really nice one. I also highlighted RMO. That one's done a whole lot of nothing. In fact, it's come down a little bit, still not ready to move higher. And I think the other one that I had mentioned was KR. It hasn't done a whole lot either. And I'd mentioned in the video that this stock, whoops, KR, is a very slow mover. So hasn't really done much. I do like this longer term breakthrough. You see that downward sloping trend line there, breakout above the major moving averages. Still struggling to hold that 200-day moving average, so not a lot of relative strength today. This is a grinder, as I'd mentioned that in the video, not a particularly exciting stock to trade. A couple of others that I highlighted. This one I highlighted Tuesday. Google. Look at that breakout. Love that breakout. It's continuing to push higher. Google looks really strong. APPS was another one that I had highlighted. That actually is right back on its high. I love this breakout here. It checked the breakout earlier today. It held. Half of the long green candle is still at that breakout. I like it. I think this is a really decent stock. This is one that I had suggested buying calls on. So I just want to review all the trades that I've highlighted. In general, the market hasn't done a whole lot. We had a nice little pop Tuesday and Wednesday. Yesterday we flatlined. Today we tested the downside. It's really kind of been chopping around. So one thing I am noticing is that it's much more difficult for me to find really good sustained moves during the day. Yes, there are exceptions. Yes, there are stocks that are still strong. But over the course of the last 2 weeks, it's kind of been like shooting fish in a barrel. I mean, once a stock makes a move, boom, 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 it was charging higher, had a nice market tailwind as well. Those conditions have subsided. So right now, that tells me we need to be very, very cautious. Let's see what else we might have. We're going to go into a search and see if we can find something that looks good. Again, keep it very small. Know that resistance in the market is building. Know that these stocks are not going to go gangbuster crazy, with the exception of maybe GME. But let's take a look at some of these stocks and see what they're doing. GSX through the 100-day moving average. This is a very fast mover. Not something I'd particularly want to hold overnight, but right now it's got a nice head of steam. TDOC, we'll take a look at that one. You can see how it's pulling back. How might I handle a stock like TDOC? Let's take a look at the daily chart. I want to show you a tactic I use. Very choppy, so not of interest to me. Breakout through horizontal resistance. Let's say that I were going to take advantage of that, looking for a day trading opportunity. What would I do? I would click alert. I'd click at that high right there, and then I'd click on this bar right here, and I'd draw my downward sloping trend line. Stock continues lower, no problem. This alert line will continue lower. Eventually, when it's breached to the upside, I'll know about it, and there may be an entry point. So, not bad. CRM, let's take a look at that one. You can see stock is pretty choppy. On a daily chart, I think I had mentioned this the other day, got this downward sloping trend line here, broken to the upside, above the 8-day moving average, bounces off the 200-day. It's okay. I mean, the stock is not strong, so I would be much more interested in buying something that's got a lot of relative strength. OSTK, this one's another one that's been a little bit soft, but I do like the fact that it's poking through that 100-day moving average, so it could gain some momentum in here. It's broken that downtrend line. Some retailers are actually starting to gain some speed. Microsoft looked early in the day, looked good early in the day, chopping around. I don't see anything much happening there. So I'm going to continue to just look for anything that sparks my interest. A nice little attempt to break out of a horizontal resistance level. NIO is a stock that I've highlighted before. It's actually putting in a pretty good day. Long move here. That's your flagpole. Downward sloping trend line right here. You can see how the stock is above that downward sloping trend line. Excellent volume today. Put up the 5-minute chart. You can see I've already got my alert line set. So really, really strong early in the day. Let's see if the stock can continue to gain some momentum throughout the course of the day. Still have not found anything that I can tell you today says, yes, buy me. So we'll go into relative strength 30, see what that's doing. See if there's anything new in here. BYND, pretty choppy. I want to see nice, tight price patterns on the upside. And I'm not seeing anything that looks particularly good to me. This is nice. BBBY really taking off. There's your volume. Downward sloping trend line breach to the upside, going to the daily. And you can see really nice horizontal breakout. Who knows? BBBY could be a very nice option lottery trade for us. So it looks pretty good. Overall, I have a little bit of a difficult time buying retailers in here, especially brick and mortar retailers. Zynga, nice breakout yesterday. There's your compression, breakout, follow through. Yes, I say this is actually a really decent one. If you're going to look for a swing trade, I think this one is pretty good. Let's go into the longer term view. You can see that, yes, it's broken through. Not bad. Big volume. So I like that. I think it could continue to grind higher. Not a super expensive stock either. I think it's trading right around $11 or so, 10.73. Would like to see it get through the prior day's high. So yes, I would want to see it through this horizontal resistance right here. These are tails above the body, so I'm not as concerned with that. But right here, that would be my alert line. Click GTC, double click on the top of that candle, set that alert line, whether it's today or next week. When it breaks through, I'll know about it, and then it might signal an entry point for me. So continue to take a look down, just trying to spot anything that might look good. Now, I have been noticing a couple of stocks that I think will do well on the short side, so I'm going to go into the bearish searches, and I'm going to highlight heavy selling. Take a look there. Intel and IBM, both super weak. Energy has been weak as well. I'm going to put the daily chart up there if you're looking for some shorts, and we do get a market breakdown. I feel that the energy sector could move lower. We've heard that the Keystone Pipeline buildout might be canceled. That wouldn't be good for the energy sector. It certainly wouldn't be good for Canadian oil stocks. So watch that PBR. You can see how it's breaking down below this 50-day moving average. Very weak price action. I think that energy could be a sector that you want to look at to short. That's some pretty decent relative weakness right there. SU is a stock that I shorted yesterday. I continue to be short it. And the other area that I think sets up well for some bearish trades is the financial sector. This is JP Morgan. You can see they announced earnings here. TDOC, we're going to ignore that. You can see how the stock announced earnings there, and it's continuing to drift lower. Relative weakness. GS is another one. And you can see that was the earnings announcement there. Stock continuing to move lower. Selling out of the money bearish call spreads would make sense, especially if we break below SPY 370, which is the lower end of that trading channel. So we'll go back to the market one more time. When it's hard for me to find really compelling trades, it tells me that I should not be doing a lot of trading. Stocks are at a forward PE, a current PE of 40, super, super rich. There just aren't any bargains out there. This morning we saw a nice little 30-point S&P drop right on the open. You can see, yes, we're in this upward sloping channel, but not nice, tight price action. Gap higher, pull back, gap higher, pull back, gap higher, pull back. It's that kind of choppy little trading to the upside that we're currently seeing. A lot of that driven by the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill. So we'll see how earnings season comes out. The reactions have not been good so far. We had bank earnings happening last Friday and this week. The reactions have been negative. I just showed you how soft the financial sector was. Energy stocks, they're also soft. Yesterday we had a little taste of some technology news. IBM posted, Intel posted, both stocks down after the number. So I think this is a time to really tread cautiously. Let the market come in. I don't think that you're going to miss any bargains right now. We've got the coronavirus starting to escalate in many areas, and the recovery is going to take longer than expected. Perfection is priced into the market, so be super cautious. Didn't really have anything that I could tell you to sink your teeth into today. I apologize for that, but perhaps that's a sign that you should not be taking a lot of new trades. On a day trading basis, even, I'm doing less trades. I'm using smaller size. I'm finding the opportunities to be a little bit more difficult to come by. So thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. We will see you next week. Make sure to watch for that swing trading video tomorrow. We did a Netflix bullish put spread, and we're also eyeing up a Google bullish put spread. But in general, we're riding out our remaining bullish put spread positions and trying to go to cash so that we have flexibility to put new trades on at better levels. Thank you. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you never miss these videos. We'll see if I've got something new for you Sunday night. Thank you. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.